What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Artist Coaching Podcast. And today we have a very special guest in the middle of us because we have Adam K. What's up? Welcome.
Woo.
Yes.
Hey, boys, look, I've got to say, Joey, thanks for the introduction on the last podcast. It was the very last thing you said on the last edition. I listened to the end and I was glad I waited. It was well worth it.
That's nice to hear that you actually listened to the end. Like, we were wondering how many people actually made it till the end.
I'm sure everyone switched off when they said, oh, it's Adam K next week. Oh, yeah, whatever, down.
I gotta say, it's such a delight to hear your voice. It's just an iconic voice, Tomorrowland radio. And you have such a radio voice. It's insane. It's like you're meant to do this.
Ralph, you're too kind. Some people say I have a face for radio, but you said I've got a voice for radio, and I love you for that.
Yeah. Just a brief introduction for everybody who is not aware of who this man is that you hear. He's a UK-based DJ, producer, and presenter, best known as the voice of Tomorrowland's One World Radio.
Come on.
What's up? Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm a massive fan, and I spoke to Jay and I spoke to Ralph, and I didn't have a chance to ask you, Joey, but
no.
Yeah, as soon as I saw Ralph at Tomorrowland Winter, I said, look, come on, you boys should come on our podcast, and then if you can, and you've got a space, I would love to come and chat, because this is just like, it's like a pub chat or a coffee chat, and talking about the industry, and I've learned so much from listening to you boys as well. I love it.
Oh, really?
Whether it's walking the dog or, just walking out and about or going for a run. There's loads of insights, and I genuinely enjoy listening to your podcast. So good job, boys. Well done.
Thanks, man.
Nice.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
I enjoyed being part of your podcast as well. I think Ralph and maybe even Joey should also still be up, but it was fun.
Down. Maybe even Joey. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, because you're not a DJ, man. Come on.
Shots fired.
You're not a
damn
DJ.
God damn it,
that's
dude.
every
That hurts.
every post you make is like, I used to be a DJ. So like you can't blame me.
DJ
For
To be honest, I'm also not a DJ.
Exactly. Like, Ralph's not a DJ.
Okay. You got me there.
I'm like
You got me
DJ
there.
adjacent.
Yeah, exactly.
And look, do you know what, Joey, just to help you out, Jay, I need to talk to you about the grading on films. We should talk about that, right?
Yeah. Is it a thing? Or is it just me?
No, it's just
Or
you.
is it you?
Yeah,
No one else thinks that?
No one.
no one else.
No one. You're all alone.
Yeah.
I have
You're
to
the
say,
meme.
I did see The Gorge on Apple TV, and it's an amazing movie, and the coloring, amazing. And like the digital effects, amazing.
When do you watch all these movies, man?
In my spare time.
Oh,
Hey, hang on. Shouldn't we just reflect on that? Because if it might sound stupid that I just said, hey, I totally agree with Jay in his film. If you didn't hear the last episode, then Jay went down a rabbit hole, just so you know. It's well worth going back and listening to that edition first. Isn't that right, Ralph? Isn't that right, Joey?
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise,
yeah, you
it
can
doesn't
click the
make
link right here beneath my finger. No, please,
Yeah.
Joey,
sense.
insert link.
Yeah. First,
Oh, it's
let's say hi to everyone joining in the live stream right now. What's up, Mikey Foden, Alex Array, Bit3, Marco Viper, Rob Pollard, Mikey Sky, Gerard Francis. What's up, everybody? Welcome. Good to see you all here again. And as mentioned, we have a special guest today. Adam K is in the house. Adam, can you tell us a bit more about what you do?
Wow. There's a lot. And that's not just me saying, but right now, like, life feels busier than ever. And that's a choice, obviously. But let's focus on the One World Radio aspect of things, because do we go right back to the beginning or not? What's best?
Let's go.
Yeah, well, what I wanted to ask, like, I see always the comments like, hey, the legend, even now in the chat, people are like, hey, the legend, which I also think is true. And then I'm like, in my head, you've always been at the Tomorrowland, and you've always been the legend there for me as well. And then it's like, I wonder how that started. Even did that start?
Yeah.
Like even before I was even a DJ, I think. But it's like, I'm very interested to see how you got where you are, and that have been for so long.
There's so much mild shade in that comment, Jay. It's like, I was already on air before you were born. You know what I mean? I'm not that old. Come on.
I'm not trying to call you old. I realized halfway, I was like, how do I turn this into a compliment again? Because that's how I meant
Oh, man. It's all love. I know. Look, it started randomly. I was working at Ministry of Sound, and I've been into radio since ever. Like, I won't bore you with that story. My absolute sort of start, but actually, I was doing the Clubber's Guide at Ministry of Sound on Ministry of Sound Radio.
Oh yeah.
So it was amazing, because if you've ever been to Ministry of Sound, you know that the main room is brilliant. It's huge. It's iconic.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to, because the radio studios weren't ready there, I was in the DJ booth making radio and playing to an empty dance floor for years. So it was great practice. You know, it's like I was literally playing in that iconic room with no one there, just making radio, which was a joy. And that led to doing some ADE radio as well, because I was heard by a guy called Raymond Garnier, and he is a Dutch guy, and he was running a production house, and he was doing something for Amsterdam Dance Event, and said, we need a voice. He'd heard what I was doing on Clubber's Guide, invited me to come to Amsterdam Dance Event, which is actually where I met Jay for the first time. And Joey, I'm certain I met you there as well. Absolutely certain of it.
At Amsterdam Dance Event.
Yeah. Long time ago.
Pooh, that could be, man. Like, where was the studio? Oh, how did we meet? Do you think?
Oh no, back when you were an actual DJ, you were promoting yourself.
Oh,
so, Jay, that one's for you, Jay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
no,
could
seriously, like, because, you know, we were outside before it even, you know, I never got the passes to the Felix Emeritus. I was the guy outside with an umbrella, if I was lucky, getting soaked, trying to get DJs on the way out, saying, hey, can we speak to you? I would love to grab a quick interview with you and anyone and everyone. So those two things were running parallel, doing Ministry of Sound and then doing AD Radio. And then by chance, Tomorrowland were looking for some people to do stuff, and they'd heard and seen what I was doing at ADE. I said, hey, look, come and do something called Tomorrowland Radio. This was, I'm terrible with years. I'm really, really bad with years, but it was with Ruben de Ronde. So we joined up and did the first, what is Tomorrowland Radio event. And we were in the media village. MTV was behind the scenes. And Ralph, you were probably one of the guests that came in, to be fair, way back when, I imagine.
What's where the media park is now? Because,
well, you know where the entrance to the VIP area is, or, you know, where the food is. It was literally just outside there, except that wasn't necessarily the VIP area. So MTV were sort of had their studio there, and then we had this essentially a metal container.
They were really like talking 10 years back.
Yeah. Again, I'm terrible with years, but we were behind the scenes. So me and Ruben, we met for the very first time, and they said to us, here's a spreadsheet. Here's who's coming. Let's make some radio. It was literally like that. So we were obviously both passionate about dance music, and we knew a lot of people in the scene, but then we had to kind of work together. And at this point, it was when Martin Garrix was not even an artist. He was there as a guest. So I met Martin for the very first time and having a chat with him, and Watson was there and Ruben, and we're just talking. And that was the year that he heard Animals on the main stage. So that's where we're at right now.
So last week I saw a post that Animals turned 12 years last week. So that's probably somewhere, something like that.
Yeah, so 12, 13 years ago, that's where my relationship started with Tomorrowland. And I can only work that out by telling that story.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Wow. Shout out to Ruben, though, because obviously we've gone on our separate journeys, and we're still really great mates. And in fact, he's going to be on my podcast, 10 Days in Dance with Amy Farina, as a guest. And we, you know, that's going to be exciting because he's done so much with Armada and Statement, and obviously with everything with Armin. So I take great pleasure of seeing him grow. And I'm also pleased with my own journey. And I think all of us here, we're all still here because of our consistency and our passion for it. And you know what? There are so many people who aren't. So shout out to all of us and anybody who's, you know, remember, you know, because seriously, it's hard work. And I hear that your conversations talk about this, and lots of people ask, what's the secret? Well, here we are 13 years later talking about when it all began.
It's really the secret is consistency, as in a lot of things can be done by other people, but not a lot of people manage to maintain it, doing it for so long. You know, the motivation disappears, they give up. And it's the motivation, it's the discipline and the consistency that essentially makes people big eventually, makes them successful.
I agree.
Yeah, and what I really like about you, Adam, and it's goes for Tomorrowland, is like there's always you, especially always make time for me, for smaller artists that play on smaller stages while you're interviewing also the big names that are coming through, and I think that's such a says something about you, and it says something about Tomorrowland. But I always feel like every time I've been there, I've played there, I just texted you, or I went to the media village and like, hey man, maybe I can do, or I bump into you and you're like, yeah, come by later, and I can just literally drop in, and just yeah, just we have a little chat on the air, which is huge for me then as well, and I think that's what I really like. But it also keeps that you are always in touch with the scene, like really, like the guys who are not only at the main stage, but basically everyone, and I think yeah, you manage that very well. And I wonder, how do you manage that? Because that's a lot of faces. Um, you've seen and still see every year, new faces, old faces. Like, how do you manage all that? It's impressive.
Well, it's a passion first and foremost, because you've got to wake up every day and go, I love this, that's why I do it, otherwise it's no fun. And every job that you do, like monotonously, it does become a bit of a chore. But actually, because of this, the fast natured nature of our business, there's always somebody new, and there's always someone established, and there's always someone trying really hard. So there's always a flavor of the month, and you've all seen it, you will live it. But it's great to see people have their time. Now, none of us know if we've peaked yet. And I think that's why we show up every day.
I know.
No, but you could be the next best author. I don't know, the Forbes top 10 author. I don't know. You don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
But
as an artist, I've peaked. As a DJ.
Yeah.
Oh, never know. The greatest comeback. You never know.
Yeah, I actually got a message last week from Bart Beamore telling me that I had to get back into it. So who sees? Who knows?
The 2040 reunion tour might be a thing. Who knows?
Exactly. Like Daddy's on tour.
But to be honest, if I look at myself, and then obviously in my free time, I do dance music.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. But I do have my own tunnels of interest. I remember walking at Tomorrowland backstage, and I saw what's he called? Oh, Rampa walking there, but
Yeah.
I didn't know who he was. But he has this eccentric. He is an eccentric guy to see, and it was really busy calling. And I remember, like, I thought something of him, but I just didn't know who he was. But of course, I knew kind of music. I made a freaking bootleg of it, but it's just so hard to keep track of everything that you can even miss Rampa. I have to be ashamed of myself. And but that's quite that you look beyond your own interest, because you obviously also have your interest, Adam. And but I think that's what makes it really admirable. And also, if I would interview somebody that I just didn't like, it also would make it hard. Or I didn't like the music. Yeah, what are you gonna say? Or you just lose interest. And well, I gotta hand it to you. You make it seem that you don't lose interest.
It's all an act. It's a huge act.
Yeah.
I hate this thing.
Yeah. I'm wondering, because when you've interviewed so many artists, like big guys like Afrojack, Armin van Buuren, Don Diablo, has a
Why call all the
conversation?
Dutchies?
Yeah, because they're the biggest.
I mean,
Has
the
a
UK is
Shaq.
doing really.
Forgot
The
Shaq.
UK is doing really well,
Shaq.
by the
That's
way.
the biggest one, Shaq. That's
Literally
true.
the biggest.
Has a conversation ever changed your perspective or inspired your music?
Oh, yes, without a doubt. Totally. Now, back in the day, like we're talking that 12 years ago, I genuinely didn't know who was coming in at any one time. That's a true story, because it was all new, it was all fresh, and we had an idea, but obviously DJs being DJs and their managers being managers, we never actually knew that we would get the main stages or not. So there's always, sorry, I'm going around the houses. Get me back on track in a minute. There's always the struggle of playing out music of the festival and scheduling interviews. And nowadays, that's what happens to make sure that there's the right balance of music versus guests and at a certain time. But back then, it was literally like a saloon door. People would walk past, you'd wave, you'd go, oh, come in. And, the likes of Jay had come in, and then, MK had come in, and then Don had come in, and then Martin had come in, and then, Shaq had come in. You're like, okay, this is a bit of a problem. But one of the joyous moments, that's the whole point of this. And whilst in this day and age, everything has to be organized, I love the chaos. I love the fact that you will never, like, there was one time that springs to mind. I think it was Nervo, MK, Hardwell, and Tiesto in the same studio, just because they'd all kind of queued up, backed up, and I kind of had to go one back to back to back. So you're not hearing any music for like 15, 20, 30 minutes or so, but it's a music stream. But I just wanted to get them to talk to each other, because when do you ever get to hear them talking to each other? That's the gold. That's the chaos. That's the thing that is priceless. Mm-hmm. So I love to kind of, and always have done, create those moments where people are together that aren't usually, because that's interesting. That's like a great podcast, isn't it? Where you get to listen to the likes of Tiesto tell us just how much he loves Issy Cross via, a Sub Focus remix or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Those kind of collaborations that they sometimes are born from those meetings at the festival as well. And so just kind of putting it into a melting pot and seeing what happens. You have to learn quickly and you have to know a lot about a lot. So that means I'm always involved in everything that's going on. And there's just so much dance music stuff going on. That's why I set up the podcast 10 Days in Dance, because every 10 days, there's always 1,000 stories that have just broken, especially over the summer with Ibiza stories, festival lineups, new music. Yeah. That's already too much. So I mentioned to Jay on our podcast, like, we do need some kind of scrolling bar. Dance music needs some kind of...
It's still a great idea, like a 24-hour EDM news channel.
Absolutely.
Yeah, even this week, I've seen Swedish House Mafia back on the stage. I've seen Martin Garrix do a track with Afrojack and Guetta live.
And Amel.
There's probably 10 other moments just from this week. Like, that would have been like a whole month's worth of news 10 years ago. And now it's like, it was just a regular Thursday, summer of 2025.
You also forgot about Anima's opening in Ibiza. You also forgot about the new names that have been added to Tomorrowland and so on and so forth. You see what I mean? There's like so much going on, which is absolutely amazing and to be encouraged, because we want people looking at the scene. It's like it's a multi-billion pound industry. There's enough to go around. But even from my point of view, it's a full-time job preparing for a full-time job, if that makes sense. So I know that you guys are quite clued on to the turning on and off, but actually in my world, I'm always on, and so I'm okay with that. But you have to be, otherwise then I'm still here, but the next person's waiting to take over, right? Because as soon as I don't know something about something, someone else is going to be waiting. So that kind of keeps me on my toes. Is that something that you guys do or not? Are you conscious of who's behind you wanting your position?
Well, we sometimes have a little bit of a discussion here. That's also like success is also a little bit relative, There's always competition. You can do really well, but if the rest is doing better, then you're going to be at home playing a set. And you got to be aware of that. It's not something that must lead you as an artist. I mean, it's also about passion and creativity. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of strategics coming in. And I think that's what you talk about. And also that keeps you on your toe. You have to thrive to be the best version of yourself and try to improve all the time, which is also one of the main things, I think, in a highly competitive world. It makes it so hard. You're never turned off. The world goes on all the time just by telling what's happening in the dance scene right now. But it's also the competition making moves. You're always aware of that. Makes you a little bit anxious at times.
Yeah. For me, that anxiety comes and goes as well. It's like, sometimes I'm like, oh no, everybody's doing more and better and working harder than me. And other times and it's kind of like, it comes back when I feel very creative and stuff. Then I like, hey, no one can make this. No one can make what I just made. And it's like, I made a song and I'm like, this is just me. And I'm not saying it's the best work ever, but I just believe in it then at that moment so much. And then I kind of remind myself of like, no one can be me. So that's always going to be a good thing, I think. And I think that could go for you as well, Adam. No one has your voice. No one has your knowledge. No one has your experience. That goes for everybody. And I think that is sometimes... you need to go through that anxiety to realize again, like, oh, wait, I'm me and no one can really do that. But I think what Ralph said, what is the most important thing is like, you have to always work on being the best version of yourself in every aspect. and yeah, that's the one person can turn off and still manage, and another person can't. It's like that is different for everybody, I think.
Yeah, try to turn down the noise. I gotta say, Jopka, I take you way more seriously when you're wearing that T-shirt, because that's a cool T-shirt, man. Finally,
I was
you
looking
know
as
how
well.
to
Like
dress.
doesn't fit his personality.
What an observation, Ralph. So Red Hot Chili Peppers. I didn't realize you were a fan.
Dude,
I mean,
who isn't?
oh, Ralph is. Yeah, I think also who isn't. Yeah, I think everybody has
Under
been a
the
fan of
bridge
Red Hot Chili Peppers at some
downtown.
point.
I mean,
Have you
And I
seen?
used to play.
Have you seen them? I don't know who's. Is it Flea, the guitarist? Yeah,
Flea,
Flea's the
yeah,
bassist.
yeah.
Sorry, the bassist. Have you seen? I can't remember which festival it is, but he ended up naked on the stage playing. Have you seen that?
Wow. No.
Oh no, I do remember the
don't wanna see it.
artwork they had with the socks.
Yeah, it's quite. They are obviously that's rock and roll. That's real rock and roll. You're not
Yeah.
allowed to do that anymore. But those times,
That's
I
real
mean,
rock and roll.
that's a great chapter in the book, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Going back to that topic, like for me, I truly believe no one can be on all the time, because eventually you will burn out in some kind of way. So I think there should always be some balance in your life. As in, I think Ralph balances it pretty well, as far as I know, because he works when he works very hard in the studio every day, but he also tunes out after 5 p.m. Goes home, has his thing with his family. Maybe after that he takes on work, but there is a balance in some kind of way.
WhatsApp is done when I'm at home, and no
Yeah.
WhatsApp maybe until 8 when I'm on the couch, or when I go to the gym. No WhatsApp still.
Yeah,
I have a pool now, so I swim quite a lot, and that's the best. You're underwater, you cannot even hear shit, which is
yeah. But there is a balance, and I think that's required for every successful person out there. If you want to make this sustainable, if you want to keep doing this for a long period of time, like we've been doing, you need to create balance. Otherwise, you'll burn out. Like it's good
learn
to
how
start,
to relax.
yeah, it's good to start off with that young mentality and go all in 200%, never rest. Do that for like 1-2 years, and then you start slowly balancing things out. Otherwise, you'll just burn out.
So what I would say to that is, because I've just said, I'm full of hypocritical comments, by the way, and contradictory comments.
Welcome to the Artist Coaches Podcast.
Welcome. Yeah.
Yes,
What do you mean it's
fit right
perfect?
in.
It's terrible. It's awful. So the only way I turn off is to do something else. So I'm then tuned into that, and then I don't think. So this is like the swimming, or the writing, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So
But
I am always
that's
on.
relaxing as well.
Well, I know, but relaxing, like I can't. I used to like watching football. I just find it boring now. Just like I've grown out of it. But I love rugby, so my other sports passion is rugby. So I love watching, and I take my family to the National Stadium to watch games, and I find that really I'm not thinking about James Hype and his statements when I'm watching England play. You know what I mean? So I do genuinely switch off.
Yeah.
But I'm always conscious that I need to go back to it. So Ralph, you're saying like at 8 p.m. you'll go back to your WhatsApp. I know you may switch it off when you get home, but you're going to switch it back on. So that takes away the anxiety, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you're going to step back into it. So in that respect is what I meant by not turning off. You know that you can't leave it for too long. Like if you don't go into the studio and there's a serum update, you're going to get a little bit anxious about you wanting to kind of make that update, right? Or whatever it is. But if you're going back to it, then it calms you and it allows you to kind of do other stuff. Right?
Especially when you have to plan the time. Like since I have kids, I have to plan my studio time, and that made that it's like sometimes on Tuesday I have to go home, so I have to switch off, and I also then want to switch off because I want to be with my kids. But then it's like I know Wednesday first thing I have to do that. I have to be back, and that does give indeed that kind of like that you allow yourself to switch off. I do think that's maybe also what you talked about, Joey, about in the beginning of your career. There's no real reason to switch off, so that's why a lot of maybe like yourself, young artists burn out. Because there's no real reason to like. You can keep going till 3 a.m.
There's nobody telling you like, dude, take it easy. That everybody around you is doing the same hustle because everybody is in his 20s and everybody has all the time, and like it's such a different period of your life. But that's also I think why when you see older DJs, like they generally build more sustainable worlds for themselves, simply because they just can't deal with it anymore. If they would keep doing it in that level and that intensity.
Do you know what? If you want a book, I know you're obviously right, Joe, but Discipline is Destiny by Ryan Holiday. I'm a massive Stoic. And that if you're watching this and going, how do I do this? It's just good. Take it on board.
Yeah, it's
have a
nice.
look, have a read. Yeah, take it. It's good. Good advice.
I will write that down for sure.
By the way,
Discipline is
good
Destiny.
news. I
Go on.
think I finished my book today.
What?
Hey.
Yeah.
Fanfare.
It's actually about this topic as well. It's called Happy in a Boring Life. I'm not sure if you knew Adam.
Such a juxtaposition.
Yeah, exactly. But I think I finished it because I think I finished it. Like I read it. I think it's there. So
Don't overthink, man. Just release it now.
Hey.
You can already read it in the Discord if you want. It's there. Like it's been, the whole process has been recorded in Discord. So if you want to read it, like it's there. And I've been working on the artwork today, so will be. I think it will be available within, let's say, 6 weeks or something, depending on how far the scheduling goes. But something like that,
Joey,
6 to maybe 10 weeks.
I need to give you a bit of advice. Make sure you take away the M dashes, from ChatGPT. Just
Yeah,
remove
I
them
know.
before you publish. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Actually, last week I bought a book and the book was full of M dashes, and I was like, dude, this is, I don't know.
I heard
Yeah.
it. That's why I brought it back to the show, because I heard you say,
Oh.
you bought a book and you were duped by ChatGPT just
Yeah,
being
that's
printed and
insane.
published.
Yeah, that's really
yeah.
insane. Like in my book, there won't be any M dashes.
Oh yeah, spell check.
Yeah, exactly. Adam, I'm wondering, for every artist listening right now, because we mainly have like more upcoming aspiring artists,
Yeah.
is there a way for them to get supported in a show like yours?
Ooh, good question. So it's really hard now as an up and coming artist to get seen and heard, as we all know, because there's so much noise out there. I would suggest that the best, and I get this so often. Adam, will you listen to this track on Instagram? Like DM here. I've just made this track. Will you listen to it? It's like, well, why should I? I mean, what? I could quite easily say, what are you doing for me? You know what I mean? Because that's the nature of the world right now. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, why should I take out 3 minutes of my life and times that by 10, times it by 20, times it by 30, whatever? And the time soon adds up. But genuinely, I do listen to all of the music I get. And I don't like in flight because I've got like 800 tracks that I can never get through. And, I can't, it's a killer because you want to keep across everything and you want to hear that first track by that new artist that's unfound.
Yeah.
So to answer the question specifically, don't just message me once. Yeah. Take an interest in what I'm doing. Maybe listen to some of my sets that I've actually played and send me stuff that I'll be interested in. Because I don't care about your R&B track. I'll be honest. I'm really not interested. I don't even want to remix it. You know what I mean? You must have received tracks that are just totally inappropriate for you. And you're like, well, come on. I'm trying to do you a favor. And if you're sending me that track, you're doing someone else an injustice because you're taking away their time that I could be dedicating to them to try and help them just because you couldn't be asked to check out if I'm actually your style of DJ. Do you know what I mean? So be interested, be interesting is my big thing, and be consistent. Don't just show up first time and then get upset when I don't listen or don't get back to you and say, hey, bro, why didn't you get back to me? It's like, well, because you've just because you've literally just slid into my DMs and said, listen to this. And then it's not even downloadable and it's already out. And it's, it's so make me feel special. If you're messaging me, make me feel special, and I'll give you the time.
Click the link, and the link is expired. That's
but it's so funny. To be honest, I never listen to music that's already released. Then they go like, "Hey, may you want to support in a radio show?" And it's just released, and man, no.
But Ralph, why not? Why not? Because you know what? Just because it didn't get a promo doesn't mean it's bad.
No, but it's what you said. Make me feel special, and you have to do. I mean, you got to filter. You cannot listen to it all. So unconsciously or consciously, you have for yourself. You made up a filter. I haven't even never thought about that. I always, but you just said make me feel special, and that made me think of like, oh yeah, everything that's out already, I just skip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so if you're gonna send me something, make sure it's a little bit exclusive.
I always compare it. I always compare it to dating a girl. You know, like if you want to date a girl, you need to make her feel special. You need to show some interest, figure out what makes her move or makes her like what she thinks about what she's interested in. And it's the same with DJs, you know, like
But
Man, you're such a
some
Casanova.
He's not been
some guys
dating
are
for a long time.
desperate.
no,
Some
that's
guys
true.
are
It's been a
desperate.
while. It's been a while.
You're single,
So-
right? You're single.
Some guys are desperate and they want to swipe right 1,000 times.
Yeah.
You know, like
Quickly.
there's always going to be those. So
Exactly.
No, Joey,
mean,
you're
it's
right,
not-
though. You are right, because it is about that going that extra mile. And if
Yeah.
you're listening and watching this and thinking, oh, I've got no chance, you have every chance, because what people forget about social media, about YouTube, about anything, we all start from zero. Everybody who's 4.4 million, 5, whatever, everybody started the same. And at some point, there becomes a tipping point. And at that point, that's when you can invest and spend some money on your promotion or whatever. But everybody, no one, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I could go on for a long time, but everybody starts the
Yeah.
same. If you,
I think it's sorry. Go ahead.
as you can say, and if you do, and we go back to that word consistency, if you do something consistently, then you'll be okay, because you've got an evidence of work, a body of work that you can look back on. So when people like us look at your work, you go, oh yeah, you're in it for a long time. I get it. Oh, I'd never heard your music before. And that's one of the best things. And that's why I said to Ralph about, why don't you check out tracks that are published? Because for me, and I do it all the time, I'm like, I hear one track and then I'm like, oh wow, I'm on your Bandcamp, I'm on your Beatport. I'm like, suddenly, whoa, like Notion, truthfully, massive fan of Notion, or his sound at least, didn't realize he'd done as much as he had, from the Crystal Days Notion remix. Now he's playing at Universe. If you go to his Bandcamp page, whoa, and there's free downloads in there, there's all sorts, but his sound is sick. And, if I hadn't listened to that released track, then I wouldn't have delved as deep as I have done with it.
Yeah.
So,
It's hard to miss Notion nowadays, though. But yeah, I get it. The thing is, you make a filter for yourself. And there, I also want to point out, there's a lot of music that I do listen to. I just this morning typed to somebody, "Yo, the quality is great. It's a pass for us on these two, but keep on sending music, please." And you just never know. But you have to. You get sent 100 things, and you can listen to 10 of them, and that's it. And it's hard, yeah. But you do get hurt, and just keep on sending. There's always these names
I like
that you
the-
go
I
like,
li-
oh, I know this one.
I like the make me feel special approach to, like, that's very interesting for producers that are upcoming to know, because I have also realized I've been doing that to DJs for a long time without even realizing, because when they play Ultra or they play Tomorrowland, for certain DJs I send them a special folder with like, hey, this is Martin Garrix Ultra 2025, and I send him tracks and I send it to him, and sometimes he listens, sometimes he replies, sometimes he doesn't listen, sometimes he plays it, sometimes not. But at least, like, they know that I've thought about, hey, Jay thinks I would maybe play these tracks on
makes an
Tomorrowland.
effort,
So
yeah.
that's yeah.
do you know what?
That's a very good tip.
That thing actually answers your previous question about the interviews, because every time a stranger or somebody who I wasn't expecting comes into the studio, it's my job to make them feel special. So I have to do that with prior knowledge. If I'd have turned up here and said, boys, I've never heard the podcast, what we doing? That's automatically cold, right? But I know that I've listened to your interviews, I've heard your shows, I know you individually, I know what you do. So hopefully that's an onboarding that creates warmth and makes you feel special. Like, this guy, you know what? Gives me the time of day. Obviously, I care about you all. I've been friends with you all. So yeah, I don't want to say make me feel special by buying me flowers, but make me feel special by showing you care. And it's really easy to do that.
Yeah.
It's really easy to
true.
just listen to a set or say, in a previous interview, or a bit of your history, beyond yesterday, or beyond your last Instagram post. Show me you care by just taking an interest, maybe a follow, maybe a subscribe, whatever it is. That makes you feel special as well.
Yeah, to be honest, we still do that. Whenever there's a lot of artists that we like, and we want them to play our music as well, and you start following them, and then you also generally start to reply on what they do, because sometimes it's just generally fun or admirable or anything, but also it happens to us. Also, you just see people comment on you, and I think that actually makes such a big difference because you do see those names, and trust me, 90% of all artists check what's underneath their posts, and so that's basically also a way of doing things.
Yeah.
So if you're listening and you send us tracks and they're a right fit for us, start getting on those comments as well. And
Start
That's
yeah,
it's like
commenting.
because
Yeah.
it's basically that's all what we all talk about is it's doing your homework. And I think that kind of doing your homework part is also the mindset that gets you further regardless if those people reply or not. I remember like there was
Yeah.
dance fair 10 years ago or more, and I had like I burned CDs, which at the time was already a bit like we had USB. So it's kind of like I burned CDs. I had my card with my logo on it, and I gave it to, I remember, laid back Luke, who actually knew me then from his forum, and I wasn't like releasing music yet, so that was awesome. Alvaro, Nicky Romero, and they were all like, "Dude, I don't want your CD." You could see that look in their face. They're like, "I'm
What do we
never
do with
gonna
this?
play this." But in my mind, it was a good idea. But because I was so prepared and like getting to that point that already gave me that mindset of going for it. So I think regardless if I didn't get a reply, that made me well set for what I've done after. You know, it's like
Yeah.
so important, that mindset.
Guys, it's time for
Community questions.
Hey,
Adam. If you listen every week, you know that we have a segment which is called Community Questions, where people can send in questions in our Discord community, which we will go over every week. And this week we received a couple of questions for you, specifically for you. So here we go. This is a question from him. Hope you're doing well, Joey. Would love to bring this question to Adam K today. As someone who has been around Tomorrowland for many years, you've seen many Mainstage performances. In your opinion, what are some of the best ways a DJ can make a Mainstage set really stand out? For example, playing lots of mashups and edits, exclusive IDs, or bringing special guests. Are there any other ideas that can make a Mainstage performance feel special?
Okay, that's a big question. That is a big question. I'm lucky enough to have been on the main stage. So when you get there, you don't want it to go wrong. So how do you stand out? You prepare, you plan, and you prepare again. So I'm a massive fan of the 5 Ps. Practice and preparation, prevent poor performance. All right, that's massive. You need to know your set
What
inside
again?
out.
Practice?
yeah,
Practice and preparation, prevent poor performance.
Mm.
5 Ps. So
I love it.
you should definitely bear that in mind. You should know those tracks inside out. You should definitely and no, not many people think about this. One World Radio record all of the main stage sets. Now, 99% of the time they get cleared to play, so they get replayed a lot. Yeah, like we've been on air at One World Radio for I think 7 years next year, and there's a lot of reliving the madness, playing live sets from the stages. You do not want to mess up. What I would say is, I don't enjoy personally 30 seconds of one track, 30 seconds of another, and I don't really want to hear Florence and the Machine, next to a million voices, because they're the ones we've heard a lot. But you've got to go nostalgic because it's a festival set, yeah. So if you're an artist, sew your own stuff in without a doubt, and make sure you've got a good intro. Make it special. Don't just turn up and play someone else's track. This is a massive deal for you. So think about your intro and think about your outro, and that's the start and the end. The rest is the messy middle. Do your thing. Show your thing. Show your creativity. Impress us. And I think I am on the same page as you. As if I'm a DJ, I want to be impressed. If I'm not many DJs are at the main stage though for education, are they? They want to have a good time at the main stage.
Yeah.
So bear that in mind. Are you playing for you or are you playing for them?
Yeah,
The people.
that's the pickle of
Yeah.
playing the main stage Tomorrowland.
Yeah. We talked
Because
about that last week, right? Like playing for
yeah,
the
you want to show your artistic integrity, that the whole passion, but you also know that you got to entertain, and to entertain is also to just deliver what they want. Or
No, Ralph, they don't know what they
it's always
want.
balancing.
Nobody knows what they want, because if you say to someone, "Do you want to hear Sweet Nothings and do you want to hear Freed from Desire?" people probably say, no, I heard it enough. Yeah. But then if you give it them in a special way, they'll go, oh, I love it.
Yeah,
So
it's
True.
that thing.
that's it. Like, it's like Ford analogy of like, when they were making a car, if you'd have asked the people what they wanted, they would have said more horses,
Yeah.
not an engine and wheels. So it's in that respect, you're the DJ. There's a famous saying called trust the DJ for a reason. Trust the DJ, be a DJ, DJ. You know what I mean? And I don't think, respect to anybody who does tricks from A-Track to James Hype, all that good stuff. But you know what? Give me a set. If it's like Boris Brescia, he can nail it. You don't see him doing tricks. You just see him making
He
them.
can. I saw him.
Yeah.
Was it last year or 2 years ago? Dude, it was insane. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually like him very much. No, but still, it's always a little bit of balancing. Your own unknown tracks just will underperform when they don't have the vocal that is known on top of it. And
Mm.
every DJ knows it. So it's you got to bring it smart in a smart way. But sometimes I don't want that known vocal on my track because it's perfect already. And it's just a pickle. And I think it's one of the hardest things to do. Play a main stage set Tomorrowland. Because you also want the people who are really critical of your performance that are sitting at home because they are the ones they are, and rightfully so. I need them to be critical of me, but I also really want to please the ones that are just way too deep in it,
But
But I
if
also
you,
want to
The
please
experts.
the people that just almost never listen to dance music.
you can't please
Yeah.
everyone. You cannot.
No,
It's absolute
no.
fact. So if you try and do that, you're already failing. So again, the rule I've always done is if it's 2 for you, it's 1 for me. And it depends on
Yeah.
the size of the stage. So maybe I can be a bit more generous and say, look, 3 for you, 1 for me. And you decide what that looks like. And if you don't want, an Eminem sample in there or, a Corona sample in there, whatever, it doesn't have to be the
Yeah.
whole thing, but just a lick or a turn or something.
A
Yeah.
little
Uh,
tease.
Because nostalgia sells, not people love nostalgia because outside of what we're doing right now, that world out there is a bit crazy, right? And we
Mhm.
go to places like Tomorrowland to escape. And I think
Yeah.
that's really important that we remember that as DJs. People don't want to be reminded of the AI and the wars and the things that are around there. They want to escape and just live their lives. So yeah, make elements of nostalgia in your new music, and I think it still can win. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I always
Yeah.
like Laidback
Good.
Luke's take on this. He always says it's not about the hits, but what you play in between the hits. And I think every especially main stage set is gonna have some hits, whether it's like main like how do you say main audience hits or like of that artist themselves. But then in between, it's like that's where you like even like either really catch the crowd or like the ones that are interested in new music or keep the ball rolling towards the next hit.
Yeah.
And I always think that's such an important thing as a DJ, like that balance of hits versus new, and because you don't want everything to be a hit, because then it's peak, 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 peak. That's like
Dopamine
TikTok.
overload.
TikTok,
Yeah.
very addicting, but in the long run, not really sustainable, I guess, or
No, but
good for
not
you.
every gig is the same. Imagine you go to a small venue, 1,500 people, and Swedish House Mafia plays there, and you pay 150 euros to see them play. And if you do that, or 200 euros, I don't know the threshold, but then you're actually forgiving them also when they don't play the hits. But I cannot, their own hits,
Yeah.
But I cannot imagine them not playing a lot of their own hits at a big main stage, and that's a little bit of the difference in sets also.
Yeah.
On the other hand, man, I would love to see them do it, and because I know they can throw down like these amazing sets and just do one of the old hits, then it would come in
Yeah.
so much harder.
So,
But yeah,
just let's circle back to the question though about the secrets to a main stage set. You might plan and prep for ages, but when you arrive, depending on the set time and the weather, there are so
Oh.
many variables to
Yeah.
what makes it good. So I think it was last year, maybe Blaster Jacks played after the daybreak sessions, and obviously Tom did not hold back. And it's like 3 o'clock. You're like, whoa. and then kind of music come on afterwards, you're like, this is a different vibe. So, in isolation, if you take that hour and take it away, it's all great and it lasts the test of time. But on the grand scheme of things, if you only stay at the main stage, you're going to have a weird day.
Yeah.
You're going to be
true.
up and down all day, more than Red Bull and,
I saw Sarah Landry was playing at 4. Yeah, it's actually not a fit for the time, but
well, it works.
I would go.
Yeah, because because there's so much to see, you kind of go where you want to
go
go.
there for an hour and then you go away.
Main stage is the place where people come for a certain act, right? Like most people.
It does have a vibe that it actually sometimes doesn't even matter who's playing because it's such a cool vibe.
Yeah, that's true.
It's insane to see.
Things are changing though. Things are changing,
It's
boys.
just
What do you mean?
it would be scary to play the main stage.
Jay, what do you mean things are
Just
changing?
know the time.
Sorry.
Things are changing because you will have seen that actually a lot of the main stage acts, and Don Diablo was one of them, wasn't on the main stage. He was in the Freedom stage. Now, Lost Frequencies is going to be on the Great Library. He's hosting twice. He's on the main stage and on the Freedom stage this year. So the Freedom stage is a totally different arena to the main stage. I genuinely don't know what kind of set Lost Frequencies will be playing between one and the other, but I wouldn't imagine they'd be the same.
The Freedom stage is the indoor stage with the big LED.
Yeah, where Eric Pridge does his holosphere, for an example.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So that's where Deadmau5 is going to be this year, and you're like, okay, so the main stage now, you've got people like Fed Legrand back on there. You've got some recent names were added. Mike Williams was on there. And you've got Subfocus on there this year. You've also got the likes of Nervo, the main stage, and Bennett, people you've never heard of, but coming through. So it's credit to Tomorrowland that they are giving the main stage more space. And like Ariel Free and Sam Devine are doing the Daybreak sessions. Bob Sinclair's doing the Daybreak sessions with his daughter.
Cool.
There's loads of so again, that's why I say times are changing. What used to be the main stage is definitely in transition. I don't know where it's ending but it's exciting because there's a different style of act coming in. And have you seen Dimitri Vegas is doing a vinyl set on the main stage this year? Have you seen that?
I said last year.
Last year on the Gathering.
This year on the main stage, you see. And I'm like, okay, well, is that a thing? Are people going to start doing vinyl sets again? I mean, I used to think it's a ring fence. You could only get in if you were Afrojack. You could only get in if you were Steve Aoki or Dimitri Vegas and like Mike. But that's not the case. So
it kind of felt like that for many years.
Mm-hmm. But if you're watching this and making music for the first time, without a doubt, there's a chance. And it just goes back to that.
That's good news.
Yeah, definitely.
Circling back to the questions, because we have more. A question from Future. You've already answered a part of it, but how do you go about finding new music for the radio show?
So it pains me a little bit because I don't have as much influence as I would like on my own radio show. It's a playlist. It's a radio station. Let's be honest. There's commercial constraints. As soon as you put like a lot of money into something, a lot of money has to come into that. That happens with adverts, with ad breaks. That means we have to kind of aim for the most amount of people. So I'm always championing music, and it kills me because not all of it gets on. So that's why I got to do a different podcast, because I want a music podcast. And you know what? If you're watching this and think you need someone to do something that you want to do, you don't do it yourself. So I'm living my best life by doing a DJ mix in one place, speaking on another, and then I combine the two on One World Radio. So I love the music we play, don't get me wrong, and some of the music I suggest gets in, which is great because it always makes me happy to get excited about music. But also I'm learning a lot as well, because we are playing lots of tracks that feature and have come through TikTok and through social media, which, like Cyril is one act as an example, who I wasn't a massive fan of initially, but you know what? I've learned to love him because there's something quirky about him, and I actually quite enjoy what he's doing right now. And he will be on the on the Tomorrowland main stage. So that also goes back to Ralph, what you were saying about not enjoying everyone. You just have to find the goodness in someone that everybody's human.
Yeah. If you take the time for somebody, because obviously we're human and we have judgment is always ready. But if you take the time for someone, then usually you can really appreciate what they're doing, and they're all there for the right reasons, and rightfully so. So also that's a little bit of context.
If I do see Cyril at the festival, I will tell him to ease off the side chain. But that's another story.
Yeah.
Here's a question from a long-term fan, Mikey Foden. Adam K is a legend. I still play those classic Adam K and Soha collabs.
Okay.
Oh.
But I guess as a
Yeah.
question, how have you found growing your sound continually with such a legacy of amazing productions? Do you
Alright.
feel the pressure to go back to older projects and update them for modern times?
This is where we break the internet, everyone, because I'm not that guy. Sorry to break hearts, and I've. Do you know what? This I don't think we've got long enough for me to tell this story. Adam K, me, and Adam K, Canada K, Hotbox Adam K Soha are two different people who came into the world
Classic mix-up.
about the same time. So
Classic mix-up.
Adam's a good friend of mine now. We talk a lot, and we've even talked about doing a project Adam K Squared. That's genuinely in the pipe.
That's cool.
In the pipeline.
Okay,
But
so
he's
Mickey is a fan of someone else.
Yeah, but that's okay because genuinely, this is a true story. Back in when Adam was dropping like Twilight and collaborating with the Reflect and also Deadmau5 and all that all the Canadian crew because he's from Canada. He's a genius, by the way. It was funny because I was getting booking requests to tour the world, and
Hey.
yeah, and he won't mind me telling you this. I sent them all to him. I could have quite easily taken them all because I was
That would be
also
awkward.
I was also right. Well, no, because it still happens now. Even my sister's like, "Oh, Adam, I love this song." It's like, yeah, that wasn't mine. She tags me in this Ibiza video, like, "Oh, Adam, yeah, I love this Reflect." No, it's not me. Anyway, true story that I sent all the emails, all the requests to him. He won't mind me saying he was a bit of a douche, absolute idiot, right? And to the point where I met him at ADE, and I was like, "Oh, you're." He was making me so cross because I met him and he was being an idiot. And I'm like, "You're misrepresenting my name, man." People are going around thinking I'm you, and that's not good. I'm here. I am selling the good name Adam K, and then you are. It's like I don't even like dance music. I mean, I don't want even. It's too busy, too loud. I'm not even bothered. I'm like, no way. That's a true story, and he won't mind me sharing that. But
Nice.
actually, over time, we've stayed in touch. I got to know him a lot better. And yeah, to this point, the fact is he's a genius. He's behind a lot of things that people don't understand and don't know, but he's still doing great. And I'm a massive fan. And yeah, he's super clever. And I've actually learned a lot from him. He actually helped me with a lot of my projects randomly. So it's funny how life turns, goes full circle. We found the good. And I'm sorry to break that news to everyone that I am not the Canadian Adam K.
Everybody just stop listening.
It
However,
reminds me of Akon. I saw a video of Akon on a podcast, and he has two brothers, and then his brother. They asked, "Would your brothers sometimes do your shows, or would they stand in?" And he's like, "Yeah, one of them does," and then he stands in for certain shows or something, and then he says, "And my other brother just takes on the shows. He just goes on his own way and just pretends to be Akon, and then takes the show, takes the full fee, but never tells Akon, and then just does the
Do you know
shows."
what? There's another part to this story I just remembered now. I got so annoyed with Adam that I took a trademark out on the UK and Europe, so he couldn't come and use his name in here because I owned it. So yeah, it was just one of those things. But again,
It goes
just,
deep.
yeah,
Goes
absolutely,
very
it's
deep.
funny. We're good mates now, and shout out to Adam. And yeah, go and follow him, pester him, and tell him you're watching this podcast, and say, Adam, I really love that track you made called "Don't Give In," because that'd be it'd be nice. It's one of my tracks that obviously he hasn't made. It'd be nice for it to happen the other way around, right? That's what I'm saying.
I'm glad
Yeah.
we've cleared that up.
Good job. Follow me on my Spotify though, as well as Adam K. Right, so Adam K on Spotify.
Both.
Go and follow me. Thank you very much.
I'm wondering now if I tagged the right one on Instagram. I did. I guess I
Definitely
did.
not.
Yeah.
Best
Okay.
of Joey.
Question from Hey Max. Hey Max X? I don't know. Hey Max. As someone who has been around Tomorrowland for many years, you've seen many main stage performances. Dude, this is the same question. You just sent it.
It's okay. It's all right. We probably didn't answer it.
Ah.
Just so much other stuff
We
going on.
did.
Yeah.
We did.
It's exact same question.
Exactly.
He just
Literally.
also copied the whole message of that guy.
And it's a different guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Hey, I'm used to it. So I've only got 3 fans, and they're all just helping out. Okay, it's okay.
Probably just circling the questions. Yeah.
Make it look
There's a
busy.
question from Rob Pollard. That question is for everybody. How to best approach a major label like Revealed? I think I have the perfect track for them, but I don't want to screw up the first impression. Where would I send it, and how do I approach this in general?
just a normal demo submission email. Don't make the email too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, people will listen to it and then they will
Yeah.
look back and ask for more
Yeah.
information. Just say, guys, love your label. This is my newest track, and hopefully you like it. Adios.
Ralph, can I
Yep.
can I give you a pivot on that one?
Yeah, sure.
The internet is a wonderful thing. It contains many details about many things. So target your label, go to their LinkedIn, find out who works for them, message them directly, say hello, ask for advice, and say, where's the best place? Even though you know there's a Dropbox, or even though you know there's a track stacks, or even if you know that they've got some email that you need to submit to, make a connection, make that person feel special, ask them, could you help me? Because I don't know where to send it. Where would you advise me best? You've made a contact. Then, because you've got that person's name, when you Dropbox or do whatever on that email, FAO, for attention of that person. Here is that track
that
we
works.
spoke about. Then suddenly you've gone to the top of the pile, as opposed to just a general submission. That's what I would suggest.
Yeah,
Good point.
that's definitely true. Also, when I meet people and they want to send me something, then I always say, put in capital letters Ralph in the email. Then I will just see it.
Yeah.
You know.
I always say that
Yeah.
when I meet someone, it's like, hey, put in the where we met in the email subject, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's that guy.
Yeah.
That definitely is a really good. Actually, there's a little bit of a
Things
life
like
hack.
ADE
DJ
are
life hack.
just actually
Yeah.
the best. Try and if you're like 14 years old and you cannot go there, that's also fine. And
Yeah.
then, but the demo submission, I actually know most of the A&Rs they actually go through it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
LinkedIn,
They
yeah.
And
are-
I think it's hard to make a
But-
bad first impression. I mean, if your track is shit, they're not really gonna. They're just gonna delete it. It's like next, we don't like next. They don't even see your name. So just send the next one, and yeah, you have to. Sometimes you think this track really needs to drop there. It might just not happen. Just go to your next track.
Yeah.
Just send it and move on.
Do you know what's a really important thing is that when you've made your track, to you, it's the most important thing in the world. It's everything. You're everything. You're hanging your dreams. You're like, this is my ticket. This is my route. This is the golden one. I know that this is the one. It might be your first track. It could be your 10th, whatever. I know this is the one. And to you, it's absolutely everything. But respectfully, the person that you're going to be sending it to, it's nothing. It's just another one. And
Yeah.
you know what? That it's really harsh, but that's the truth, isn't it? And it's like,
You learn to live with this pain.
Yeah.
All you producers out there,
Yeah.
you learn to live with this
It
pain.
keeps
hurts.
on the same as well. When
Yeah,
your
always.
track is out now and you just don't get the support you
Yep.
expect it. It's
Or you
just a
send a DM
letdown.
to
And,
Tiesto and you see he has seen it 2 minutes ago.
Get
and no
ghosted.
reply.
yeah.
Just
still
hurts.
hurts, doesn't it?
It still hurts. It
Hey,
still hurts.
Adam, a question. What do you think about the state of dance right now? It's a broad question. In my mind, it's like really vibrant and there's a lot going on. But I'm curious. You think you know more about dance music than I do at the moment. You, yeah, you see more. I'm in my little
swimming
tunnel.
pool.
So,
Swimming pool. You're in your swimming pool.
yeah.
Mhm.
The state of dance music. Come on, let's be honest. Is it not better than ever? Because we've got more food on the menu. We've got more choice than we've ever had. That's also a problem because no one likes to go to a restaurant with 100 dishes. We go to a restaurant because we know what we like and we want a choice of 10. And we, I want to try everyone over the coming weeks. So it's as much as it's so positive because Ibiza's been around forever. Yet look at it; it's about to become the new Vegas. I think we were talking about this, Jay. About no, not sorry. I was in another conversation. Ibiza's going to be a 24/7, 12-month destination venue that Universe is going to host concerts like Rufus du Sol and New Year's Eve events. It will become like Vegas. That's going to become a 12. That's so exciting. That's just one location in the world. Look at Vegas. So all these thriving hotspots of electronic dance music. Is there too much? Yes, but we don't need to consume everything all the time. But there's more options, and it's our choice to go there. Just like going to Universe, you want to go and see it, great. You want to, you're going to have to pay the price, whatever it is, for X amount of chicken strips or
Chicken
beers or
tenders,
whatever.
yes.
Do you know what I mean? That's your choice. You don't have to go there. But just like F1 fans, I love to go to Silverstone. I love it because, and I know it comes with a price. And if I want to go to see a sporting event or a concert, I know it's going to come at a price. I think we as humans, though, we think we have the right to go to everything all the time. And I think that's a problem. And, you saw that earlier this year about people taking loans to go to Coachella and things like that. That's not healthy. And there has to be a limit. And you have to have the ability to say, okay, people can't handle FOMO. Well, sorry, you're going to have to because you can't do everything always. So I look forward to, and this goes back to I want to go to Vegas. I want to do this. I want to go to that festival, but you can't. You've got to be patient. And it means you enjoy it more when you do get there, I think. So to answer your question specifically, Ralph, I think we're in the best position we've ever been. And I think we've got a responsibility as kind of mid-tier people with experience to develop, as you are doing with the coaching, the future. And it's up to us to decide what the future looks like with the education that we give.
True.
Wise words.
Why, very wise words.
Yeah.
By the way, Hey Max just replied, I was watching you live on YouTube and I got a call, so I didn't realize that you already answered my question. So we cleared it up.
Now, it's
Anyway.
also cool to see you as being a British person, right? UK, am I saying that right? There's obviously factions, Scottish and Wales, I don't know what, but I think the UK is doing really well. I love Hannah Lang. Dude, she's amazing.
Isn't
we
it
work
strange,
with Ben
Ralph?
Nicky quite a lot. Sammy Virgie is from the UK as well.
Come on, just been announced on the Tomorrowland lineup as well. Hannah Lang, Ibiza residency.
Yeah, I know. That's insane. And
you know
how
what I mean?
cool is it? Yeah.
It's
Billy
so good.
Gillies or I don't know, DNA. It's one of my go-to songs.
Right, Billy Gillies. Yeah, absolutely.
No, the UK is thriving, and it's cool to see. I think they bring something back to the table, a little bit of raw, ravish kind of sounds that I really like. I'm a big fan. So if you, after the show, can give me their numbers, that would be nice.
We will contact them, yeah.
Do you know what?
Adam-
With the UK scene, just a quick wrap up on that, Ralph, is it's everyone always has a moment, right? And I think you just mentioned a load of Dutchies earlier on. They've inspired you. And so who's the next wave of Dutchies and who's the next wave of UK artists? And in Australia, who's the next wave? But actually, I think because the world's getting bigger, you've got, people like, I don't even want to, I'm not even an expert in that field, so I can't just name names. But you've got so many emerging scenes from so many different parts of the world that it's more cosmopolitan than ever, and that's exciting. And I think the UK in particularly, and London especially, is so cosmopolitan that it's literally it's always been a creative hotbed, like New York, like Berlin, like Amsterdam. But yeah, London holds something special, and that's what's making it exciting because of the cosmopolitan nature of the city.
True.
Yeah. Again, wise words.
Adam, I want to thank you for your time. We're at the end of the episode. Thanks for all your knowledge bombs. Thanks
it's
for
too
all
short.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're already over an hour. Thanks for all the knowledge bombs. Is there anything you want to shill?
I've got a lot to shill, to be honest. I want to say follow us on the 10 Days in Dance podcast. Shout out to my co-host Amy Farina. She works for EDM House Network, and you can go and read an article on Jay and watch that podcast. That was fun. Nightmare because Riverside, our platform, decided to kick me out, and
It's because we were joking about it.
yeah, it's the best
We jinxed
platform in the world. And then it's like this for me. I'm like, where am I? Anyway, it's a great listen if you go listen to it on Spotify or wherever. So yeah, the 10 Days in Dance podcast is something that's close to my heart. Go and follow us on Instagram if you wouldn't mind. Also, I got new music out. Let me point. There's already loads of new music, so go and follow me on Spotify and Beatport. But something exciting happening. Silvio Soul, myself, and Marvo have got a track out July 16th. It's called One More, and it sits in the middle of everything where it is right now. It's an earworm. Look out for it. It's going to get played lots of places. Lots of DJs putting it into their podcasts as well. So just check me out. Follow me on Adam K DJ on Instagram, and there's all the LinkedIn's and all the other stuff as well. But yeah, 10 Days in Dance.
That's
music.
a proper chill.
Thank you.
That's a proper chill. Yeah. What about you guys?
No, it's when there's a guest, there's no shilling.
Okay.
It's
So
all
no
about the
shilling,
guest.
Yeah.
I took it all.
Sometimes I do when there's a guest because then I have just the new track out.
Yeah.
But today,
Not today. Not today. Yeah. Adam, thanks for your time, man, and appreciate it, and best of luck with all the things coming up.
Good luck, boys. Keep doing good work, and I look forward to seeing you very soon. If
Thanks.
not at the latest ADE, right?
For
We'll be
sure.
there.
Thanks so much for coming on, man.